This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, round two of a very interesting discussion with two of our guests this evening, special guests. We have Dr. Mark Christian, a former Islamic Imam, and he is the president of the Global Faith Institute. And also joining us is Dr. Mudar Zahran. He is the leader of the Jordanian opposition. Mudar and Mark, welcome back to the Glazov Gang.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for having me too.
Thank you for coming back. Gentlemen, let us begin the discussion. Many people see this as the third intifada starting in Israel. Whether it is or not, definitely an intensification of the Palestinian jihad against Israel. Let's begin with you, Mudar. How do you see the events?
Well, first of all, it is an intifada, no question about that, and it's a jihad motivated. It was very carefully planned. I've warned against this intifada exactly a year ago in an article in the Jewish press, said there would be a third intifada. The intifada was instigated based on fundamentalist Islamic. I need to explain. Those launching the intifada, most of the stabbings are taking place in Jerusalem. The Palestinians in Jerusalem, most of them have Israeli citizenship, live on generous Israeli welfare. They live a good life. They're not oppressed. They don't have any restrictions. So it's basically purposely for Islamist fundamentalist purposes. What's surprising is this has been launched by both, and this is documented according at least to the Israeli government. The Israeli government complained 3 weeks ago that quote unquote Jordan's government was a major contributor to the unrest through quote unquote motivation and incitement and action. Also Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, which is just a facelift of the Islamist terrorist jihad, it's an Islamist organization in the name of an authority. Both parties have been inciting this violence. Both parties, why does someone like Jordan King need this? Who's a secular himself but hates Jews, why do they need this? They need this to stay in power. So basically the easiest thing is just ignite hatred to Jews, kill power. This is unfortunate. As a Jordanian Palestinian, I think this is shameful and this should stop.
Thank you, Mudar. Mark, how do you see Mudar's perspective of what's happening?
I have to disagree with a few things that he has to say, respectfully. Number one, this unrest that's going on is unique about a couple of things. And I would love to give a little bit of background about the Intifada. The first Intifada, which is actually translates into unrest or uprising of the Arab people in the Holy Land. And the first one gave birth to the organization that we are dealing with right now, Hamas. The second Intifada kind of solidified the power into two entities to govern the Arab people in the Holy Land between Fatah and Hamas. And then this one is completely unique and different from the other two unrest. And even though it did not solidify yet into a real Intifada or uprising, but it is unique about a couple of things. Number one, it is surrounding the city of Jerusalem and challenging the status quo of the control of Israel over the Holy Land, especially Eastern Jerusalem and the Temple Mount area. The other important part about this one is the uniqueness of it. It is younger kids, younger men who are carrying knife attacks, and the attackers are coming from both sides, whether it is Hamas or Fatah, and they are trying to challenge the status quo so they can show the ability, challenge the ability of Israel to control the Holy Land and to challenge the status quo of Jerusalem itself.
Okay, but Mark, Mudar, you would agree is correct that he's pointing out that these leaders are instigating violence and hatred against Israel also for their own self-interest.
I would have to disagree about the involvement of the King of Jordan into this. You know, the history shows that the King of Jordan...
You agree with the Israeli government?
I do agree 100%.
It was lying when they said Jordan was involved. Answer me, Mark. Do you think the Israeli government was lying on 3 occasions when they said Jordan was quote unquote Egypt contributed to the unrest? Do you think Jordan's king, which you've defended the last time, is a good guy by inciting anti-Semitism? Do you support anti-Semitism, Mark?
I do not support
So why do you
anti-Semitism.
support the king who supports anti-Semitism?
I do not. I do not.
No,
If you
you
let me,
cannot hate, you cannot be against anti-Semitism and support a king who openly supports anti-Semitism. You can't have both.
I did not support the King of Jordan. I did not defend the King of Jordan, and I am not supporting any person that do any kind of anti-Semitism. My question to you, Mother, why is it for the Palestinian that they have to overthrow any government to replace it? Why can't you live in peace with the King of Jordan as the King of Jordan and live in
Wait,
Palestine?
you are
Why?
supporting someone wait, this is very dangerous, Mark. I can't believe you said that. You're saying we should live in peace with a king whom the Israeli government 3 times in the last 90 days said was inciting anti-Semitism. You are asking me, the leader of 6.3 million Palestinians in Jordan, to live in peace with an anti-Semitic king.
I'm really sorry. I don't want you to be upset or angry.
No,
Just a question.
you asked me to tolerate anti-Semitism. Is either a huge mistake from your side or you basically have it wrong. I want to know
Mother,
which side are you on, Mark.
Mother, we have to respect each other opinion. We are in America, in the
So
West.
I have no
Everybody gives.
tolerance of anti-Semitism. No way on earth I'm going to tolerate anti-Semitism, Mark. Not even
I
for a
am a
second.
huge, big support of the state of Israel, and there is nothing you can put in my mouth to change my perspective about Israel.
You
I'm a
just
huge, big
said,
supporter of
then you
Israel.
probably should
So
take back
do
what you
not,
said.
do not
Then you
turn
probably should take
tables.
back what you said. Then you probably should take back what you said, Mark. I know this might have been just a mistake, but it was
I
an
did not
awful
do
one.
mistakes,
An
Mother.
awful one.
My question to you, it is not about Israel. It's about you as a Palestinian. Why, as a Palestinian, have to overthrow some sort of government for you or your people to exist? You refuse to live in peace with Israel, and now you refuse to live in peace with the King of Jordan. Why is it that you
You
have
are
to
supporting,
overthrow the
again,
government to establish
Mark,
your own
you
state?
are supporting an anti-Semitism king. No, I won't live in peace with an anti-Semite king who tells my people to go stab Jews. Do you know what the Israeli government said just 2 months ago? The Israeli government officially complained that the king's media was officially asking Palestinians to
You
go
are
and stab
denying
Jews, and
history
you are
by what you're
telling me
saying.
to go live in peace with this king.
All right, 1 second, gentlemen. Let's just crystallize the disagreement here. Mark, Mudar's point is that the Jordanian king is also involved in instigating this terrorism against Israel. Mudar has also pointed out that Israel itself has pointed to this instigation. Do you disagree that the Jordanian king is involved in instigating this anti-Semitism?
To answer this question, it is not a simple answer of yes or no. Why? Because the King of Jordan is like any other Arab. What he believes in and what he's trying to do, and the history shows that he was trying to do, is different from what he says publicly and to his own people. It is very important for any Arab leader to go to his people and instigate any form of anti-Zionist and anti-Jewish narrative and anti-Semitic narrative. But on the reality on the ground, King Jordan and the Hashemite kind of kingdom has a long track of supporting the state of Israel and working with the state of Israel. So to
Well,
answer that
obviously,
question, you don't know. He is like every Arab. To be popular, to stay in power, you have to be anti-Israel, anti-Jew. But in reality on the ground, there is different occasions and different situations.
Okay, Mudar, what would you say to that? That Mark is agreeing that he's involved in this anti-Semitism, but Mark is also saying that it's a charade, and meanwhile, he's also, on the other hand, supportive of the state of Israel.
well, obviously, the state of Israel disagrees with Mark because the 3 different statements made by the Israeli government were very clear. They were obviously accusing Jordan's government clearly of quote unquote, and these are not my words, they said through instigation and action. Instigation and action, both of them. So disagrees with Mark, and in this case, I will believe the Israeli government, and also me being a Jordanian politician, I know Jordan enough. So my question is also, what Mark just mentioned sounds like taqiyya to me, So he's approving that the king should practice taqiyya only on the Jews. But
I
in other
didn't
ways,
say
in this
that.
case,
I did.
he's not
Do
practicing.
not put one word in my mouth, mother. I did not say
I
that.
didn't interrupt you. Please don't interrupt you, Mark. I didn't interrupt you. I'm saying is the king is anti-Israel. The king, his media, this is not about saying things about Israel. If you're talking about the king's father, yes, the king's father was a very peaceful man. He had his flaws, but he was a real king. This guy is very anti-Israel. His newspapers and his media, state media, is asking us to go stab Jews.
Mother, you cannot
This is
keep
what the
talking
Israeli
nonstop.
government. This
Mother,
is what the Israeli government is saying. Unless you, Mark, or you, Jamie, think that the Israeli government is lying.
Okay, Mudar, thank you. 1 second. I want to move on to the other events that we want to discuss, but Mark, crystallize for our audience why you feel it important to disagree with Mudar in terms of how he's trying to denounce anti-Semitism and to say that the king of Jordan is also involved in it. Why is it important? What exactly are you disagreeing with and why?
what I disagree 100% with, against is twisting the facts to fit everybody's agenda. It seems like a common trend for Muslims in general, that they twist the facts to fit their own agenda. I was part of that and I left that. That I am a very, very big advocate of the truth and the truth on the ground. And I don't care about, anybody's agenda other than, trying to, to put the truth out. Mother is trying to do whatever it takes on his ability to show that the king of Jordan is the bad guy, so he
the
can
Israeli
overthrow the
government
king
is
of
lying.
Jordan.
Mudar, let Mark finish his point. Mark, please, under a minute and a half, crystallize to our audience what your argument is. What exactly is Mudar's agenda in your perspective by him pointing out that the king is involved in instigating anti-Semitism, and he's also pointing out that Israel has pointed to this instigation. Crystallize for our audience why you think Mudar is doing this.
I want the audience to pay attention to how Muslims act in situations like this. When you have a political agenda, you do whatever it takes by twisting facts and pushing and attacking the other person no matter what, just to prove your point. The other thing is, I do not have any kind of trust that the Arabs will go into Jordan, overthrow the king of Jordan as he advocates, and put his people in that country and to be able to have any kind of peace, because history shows that Palestinians fight with each other. If two people sitting within the same room, they fight with each other. They cannot agree on one leader that represents them, even under oppression they are. I don't know why it is for the Palestinians in anywhere and they go, they have to overthrow the government to replace it so they can have a country. They did that in Lebanon, they did that in Jordan, during the 70s, and now they want to do it back again in Jordan.
Mark, it appears to me there are two issues here. Let's get back to the first issue. The other issue you're bringing up, perhaps very important, we'll let Mudar answer. Mudar is saying that the king of Jordan is involved in anti-Semitism. He's instigating anti-Semitism. Israel itself has pointed to this anti-Semitism. You do not disagree that this is the case?
I agree and disagree. Why? Because the facts speak for themselves. Any Arab leader, including Sisi in Egypt, he has to say anti-Semitic terms to appease to his people and keep his leadership. At the same time, what's happened behind doors, it's politics, and they do whatever they take. It's a Muslim nature. You do whatever it takes to establish your agenda.
Okay, but it is happening, whatever the motives are behind it. Mudar, briefly, please, because I want to get to a couple issues here. Go ahead.
So Mark is saying that anti-Semitism, verbal anti-Semitism, which leads to killing Jews, is actually okay as long as it keeps someone like the King of Jordan in power. Also, Mark is not necessarily an expert in Jordan. For the same way, I'm not an expert on Egypt or Canada. So he doesn't realize that Jordan actually is our country. It's not someone else's country we're trying to take. The only way we can achieve peace is us liberating our country east of the river. And speaking of agenda, since it's all about personalization, Mark, don't get me wrong. I'll ask you one question and leave the answer for you. How did you get a visa to stay in the United States? Did you claim asylum and being a Christian? Just a question. So all I'm saying is, being
No.
an anti-Semite is illegal. It's a crime. And as Representative 6.3 million people, you need to that we have lived for centuries with Jews in that land in peace without the Arab dictators, including the Hashemites.
Thank you. Gentlemen, please, under a minute each, I want to let you go. Mark, say what you want to say.
What he says is, again, attacking me personally. I did not apply for asylum because of religious stuff that you talked about. I came on this country because I'm a physician. I have a track record. I got this in country legally, not under refugee, not under anything other condition. So why you are even bringing this up?
And I said that this king of Jordan and Abbas are playing. The trio, Abbas, Hamas, Jordan's king, according to the Israeli government and not to Mudar Zahran, are inciting violence and hatred and killing Jews. Not in my name, not in the name of my people. We have Israel on our side. And we have the United States and the CIA and the Mossad on our side. We will topple Jordan king. We will rule the country and establish a secular democracy. We will bring peace for the first time through a Palestinian state.
Kindly finish off the show and explaining why you felt that it was very important to point out that even though the king of Jordan is instigating anti-Semitism, that there's a charade going on.
The only peace can be established is based on the truth and facts. We cannot establish truth by removing governments and putting governments instead. The reality is that there is a group of people that they are supposed to try to live in peace with other people around them. They do not have to remove governments, whether it's Lebanese government or Jordanian government or Israeli government. You are thinking that you are very smart, and this is not going to work. That you're going to go and appease to the Israelis, so the Israeli will help you overthrow the king of Jordan. History shows that the Palestinians never agreed on anything.
The Israelis are our partner. We're not trying to appease the Israelis. We are partner with the Israelis. We want to become partners with the Israelis. We are seeking a Catholic marriage to Israel, and we will achieve that you like it or not.
Can I finish something with something? You have an example of what Muslims look like. That's exactly what you are dealing with.
Okay, each of you have made your point. Thank you for joining the Glazov gang. Mudar Zahran and Mark Christian. We'll see you on the next edition of the Glazov gang. Good night.